Hello everyone and welcome to your horoscope for the week of November the 28th and December the 4th, 2022. We have a powerful sky but this is something that I've been saying in each and every horoscope this year and last year, but that is the times that we are living. So yes, we do have once again a very powerful week and a powerful sky where there is a really strong energy shift that we're going to be feeling quite deeply, because towards the end of the week Neptune finally goes direct, and this changes everything, but nothing that we can touch, nothing palpably. But besides Neptune's powerful influence, we also have this conjunction of Mercury and Venus starting to square Neptune, speaking about the devil, and quite literally, when Neptune is very pushed into shadow, so to speak, one of the expressions of it is, of course, the not so favorable expression of illusion, um, alchemy, even the spirit, etc., etc. So we are definitely going to be seeing this play out. And the other important energy is they're also going to oppose Mars in the sign of Gemini. And of course, the Sun slowly follows them, but it is the conjunction of Mercury and Venus that is highlighted this week. So we are going to be strongly feeling this. Now, this is a mix of energy. It is not necessarily bad, because remember, not so long ago we did have that really optimistic Sagittarian new moon, and we were inspired one way or another by that energy, and we're still under its influence. But this is where we get to the stage, okay, but how do I live? How do I execute? How do I get to have whatever it is that inspired me, or the plan, or wherever my aspirations take me in any sense? And that's where, it's not so easy. That part is not so easy. So the square with Neptune, the moment when we, get faced with the fact that, well, it's not as easy as the idea, as the dream, well, I'm not as full of energy and motivation and determination when I'm faced with the fact of let's do it, let's start it, let's whatever. So Neptune can drown this dream very, very, very quickly and nullify our efforts if we give in to it. Because remember, it's standing still in the sky, it's shadowy Jupiter in an erratic degree and going direct. Neighboring Neptune doesn't help at all. So Jupiter just expands whatever we input into this. So we can give up. It's so easy to give up. It's so easy to give in. It's so easy basically to kill the dream, to kill the mood. And the hope as well that comes with it. But this square requires us to not allow the hope and the dream to die, to actually start doing something with it. But look, this is a massive concentration of mutable energy. Neptune, Jupiter, immutable, Pisces, Venus and Mercury and the Sun, immutable, Sagittarius, Mars, retrograde, insistently staying in mutable, Gemini. So, and Virgo is also mutable, and it has Orcus in it, who activates other planets, but that's the nitty gritty. So that's a lot of mutable energy, which requires us to be adaptable, to go with the flow, to preserve the dream, to not allow anything to kill it, but it is our own responsibility to keep it both alive and adapted to the circumstances. Because Mars retrograde, that which was a brilliant idea 2 days ago, today does not seem as inspired. So we might need to go back to the drawing board quite often. So it's not easy to keep the dream alive under these conditions. And the other element of this is maybe just a mood, but this is where a bit lazy, a bit lethargic, a bit so comfortable, not even in the Tauran way, in the Piscean way. So we want to get lost. We want to be surrendered indefinitely, as in, we surrender, but of course, normally, naturally, the universe, reality, our own unconscious comes and meets us with something, a solution, an idea, a new beginning. So, okay, our state of surrender did something big. But then we find ourselves that we are really not in the mood to not be surrendered suddenly. So there are moments when you rush the universe and when it hurries up, and then we're disappointed. Well, why so fast? So yeah. But this is part of the deal because that's Gemini and so Pisces as well. So regardless of the sun sign, in this intense period, perhaps this week, both of us are both Pisces and Gemini a bit. And for some people, this is torturous because either they're the opposite of this, or because they were born under this very same energy. For example, me, my ascendant is Pisces and my sun moon is Gemini. So, yeah. Also, how should I say, completing the Gemini retrograde, as in the Mars retrograde in Gemini, Gemini hosts quite a lot of fixed stars. And I'm not even gonna pronounce them because that's why I don't use fixed stars, to be totally honest. I can't pronounce them. Even if I would put headphones in and some voice would tell me I can't. But it has a lot of fixed stars and some are sensitive to conjunctions with Mars. Some are fortunate, others are not so fortunate. So their energy and Mars is the activator. So their symbolism is released heavily. So you can imagine that this Mars retrograde in Gemini is complicated, delicate. It's not very, very easy, but it's not as hard to adapt ourselves to it or bypass it. Why not? So yes, but it triggers, it adds a lot of spice and pepper and karma and fated events and events where because of this fixed stars, that we're like rational, down-to-earth beings and something blows our mind. It doesn't even have to be in our own personal lives because Gemini is media, communication, everyone else's life, informationally. So this happened to X, Y, Z, I can't believe it. How does the universe work this way? There are those religious songs. I'm not even sure if this is, from the psalm, but the Lord works in mysterious ways. This is the week when, yeah, absolutely, it blows our minds. Either in a unfortunate way, in the sense that, like, I can't believe that this happened to that person who was a demigod. Or in the fortunate sense, wow, I thought that this person, that person, let's say in just a situation, was defeated, was impossible. And the impossible became possible. Of course, some people who have something powerful at those degrees in Gemini, well, they might kind of feel it strongly in their lives as well. They might be the ones who other people are talking about. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that Mars Gemini, well, can make things complicated. So, my suggestion, when the paper, the response, the reply from an authority, from a institution, from an official person, lawyer even, counselor, council member, whatever, comes that it's not possible. Not this time. Not, or something like this. Well, don't let that kill your dream. Please don't let that kill your dream. Okay. We can't forget that we have Uranus in Taurus and the North Node, and it's not an exact conjunction, but they're still very close to, they're neighboring intensely. Then there is this South Node in Scorpio, money, finances, is it possible in physical reality? And sometimes it's not possible in physical reality, not because it's not possible, but because of money and legal stuff. Oh, and it's not legal. To be legal, it takes 10 million papers, years, money into legal, which is not real. So, usually, no one can encourage you to be persistent. But there are certain moments in life when maybe a second opinion will change everything. Maybe waiting until, let's say, 12th of December or March 2023, of course, will change things. The law change, politicians change, elections, petitions, legal battles, legal fight, this and that. A lot of things can change the legal configuration of reality, let's say. So let's not it kill the dream. But it's an opposition. So I have to say the opposite as well. I guarantee that it's possible at this time, and it comes from institution, state, politician, counselor, doc. It comes from someone very, very Saturnian. Well, chances are, don't take it for granted. It's good news, absolutely, but let's not take it for granted just because they say it's possible. Let's go with the flow, exactly. So, again, then the bad expression of how we can kill our dreams in a different way under this energy. Okay, we're there, we're doing it, we're determined. Let's take even Mars into consideration. Well, legally or in physical reality, timing, money, resources, my own, know thyself. If I know that I'm not a person who is like Napoleon, well, I can't expect myself to be endurant or keep the dream alive forever. So I have to act from self-knowledge. So when I know that I won't hold out for more than 2-3 weeks, no problem. Neptune, Jupiter, well, the divine is there and it finds a way, etc., etc., keeping the dream alive. But being blind to where reality is encouraging you to go with the flow again. The dream needs to be adapted to that because the universe is sometimes finding a way by suggesting different routes. So a rigid, fixed, fanatic approach, or being immersed into the miraculousness of the dream where it pops down from the sky, or the divine will just push you into the accomplishment, well, chances are no. So it needs a realism as well. So you can imagine how the opposition with Mars and the square with Neptune, so that's a T-square, but not exact, but we can also call it that way. It will play us a little bit. But a Pisces is at best at times like this, when only faith remains. No problem at all. Pisces takes care of it. And You see, this is where not every energy of Pisces is spiritual. Because how many Pisces natives, Pisces suns, are anti-religious, anti-spiritual, yet still their perception about reality is so different that they still operate the same way as a typical spiritual or crazy Pisces, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Pisces is Pisces. Pisces can make the impossible possible by sheer holding the frequency, because this is the only expression that suits all Pisces, every Pisces, who is anti, as I said, spiritual. So, but there's Gemini. Well, there's the extreme expression of Gemini, who kind of has this ability to take life, especially when it's not a laughing matter. Somehow, miraculously, they don't die, they don't get killed, and they also make it. How? No one can explain rationally, but you see, when the sign of rationality solves the hardest matters irrationally, you get the duality of the sign, and you see that Gemini is like a divine humor, because the twins are on the heavens because one was mortal and the other one was not. And their bond, their love, whatever they shared, well, that beat any logic. They beat it. They're on the heavens. So the logic, the ration of Gemini, many times, how should I say, their biggest lesson in karmically in life is that their biggest strength is sometimes useless, and the opposite of it is, you know. So yes, we will see this playing out in our lives. That's in a fun and Gemini type of way, but at the same time, this keeps the dream alive. And this is going with the flow in a stupid way, but sometimes in life, we have no choices. When we have choices, it's fine, because then we have every reason to be optimistic for. But when we don't have any choice other than our own fantasy, then is when we have to go into extremes. But that is still not drowning in an illusion. That is knowing that what you're doing, knowing what by spirit, by soul, but knowing what you're doing. When everything is lost, then you will not be bitter. You know, you're not bitter anymore. You know what you're doing, even though you don't. And that's the... But before Neptune goes, and again, Jupiter is direct in Pisces, so karma. So the emotion, big gestures, big feelings, collectively even. Let's not forget that the power of love, the power of compassion, all the juice of Pisces is very ongoing, and Neptune's going forward just brings down the flood physically as well. Yeah, yep. Water is acting the same way it did in April this year. So yeah, that I'll leave it to that. But the power of compassion, the power of communion, the power to set our differences aside is very much needed right now. And that is the Christ consciousness, so to speak, is heavily working in the world right now. And this is where perhaps whatever we call as Christ does not show its embodied form, but rather the Piscean form, Emmanuel, if that says anything to anyone. So the other element which is gonna really make things difficult, and this will persist even next week, we have an opposition with Pluto and Black Moon Lilith. Now, this can translate in so very many different ways, but let me begin with the world stage because it's still cardinal energy. So it's out there. Now, this is shame. This is... And Black Moon Lilith is also conjunct a fixed star. Let's even forget the name. But a fixed star which speaks about shame, which speaks about moments when everyone has their closet revealed. And whatever you've done, whatever you are, whatever you don't want to show, well, it shows itself. So, on the world stage again, certain politicians will be shamed. Political fiascos. When entire governments are shamed. When world leaders are subject to shame. Now this can of course be from the most insignificant, like a diplomatic fail. Like the video clips when we see that the umbrella goes bad, or the world leader, or the big politician, or the superstar. But don't get me wrong, not entertainment. Who has influence? So the Plutonian kind of person, as in the Capricornian but Plutonian also kind of person. They have a bad hair day, something very human happens to them. So, and that's shame, well, ultimately, but is it? Like, is it? And that's where we can laugh it off. But when I don't even know which words to use, your financial plan or something that you promised and you insistently promised in a millisecond goes up in the air, that's shame. Or when your words are turned against you and like you're in chessmate. And it doesn't matter if the opponent is the media, is, who know, other political party. Shame. But I don't feel sorry for these people. But the secrets being exposed. And the fixed star. When fixed stars are involved, that's when, ha ha ha, but it's serious. It's kind of serious, because secrets have power and the person can be utterly destroyed. Because shame, the power of shame. And this is where everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has skeletons in their closet without any fail. And perhaps a shame should be just laughed off. But some people are very sensitive to it. So sometimes the person defeats themselves for something which they shouldn't really. Because not every politician, not every influential person, regardless in which sense or which way, or if it cancer, your local community, your family, your neighborhood, your domain, you belong to someone, something, somewhere. So we can imagine where shame is gonna matter. It's gonna hit a nerve, especially if this is emotionally very important to you. But then again, If you committed heinous crimes, yeah, then yeah, okay. But if it's something which really is just subject to forgiveness, a simple forgiveness, or sometimes a bigger mistake, let's say, will truly not eclipse mountains of good that a person has done, or or someone's life work, or someone's professional eloquence. But an opposition is where balance is the only way, and that's what the opposition is all about, balance. That's why it's so hard. Even if the opposition is extreme, let's say a planet totally nullifies the other, that is also balance, because that other planet has to be dominant for any reason. You made it so, fate made it so, whatever made it so, but it's so, and that's what you have to work with. And Pluto is one of those planets who does this, nullifies the one who it opposes, but Black Moon Lilith cannot be. So Black Moon Lilith will not go anywhere, if you know what I mean. And Black Moon Lilith has a very Plutonian side to her, because she's raw, impulsive, primal. I would go to if Pluto is the lord of the underworld. It is Hades, it is the seven hells, or whatever. Well then, Black Moon Lilith, well, all of a sudden, surprise, surprise, Tiamat. That which is so primal that only the divine spheres can do something with it, not anyone or anything else. So every energy, each of these energies opposing, has aces under their sleeve. So yes, on the world stage we can expect something like that, but it also has kind of dangerous expressions, because let's not forget that Cancer is borders, ethnicity, yeah, all that stuff. I'm not even gonna repeat the list. So it will strike a nerve, it will hit, it will trigger, it will reveal, it will anger, it will do something. Mars in the sign of Gemini retrograde, it likes to spread the news. It loves spreading the news. It feeds on that kind of news. So chances are it will hit the news. But if something shocking happens, or something which no one can be proud of, we must ask ourselves, well, what is reality reflecting? It's reflecting that we make it serious. We make that which shouldn't be serious, serious. Because ethnicity and borders and culture and customs, traditions, but the Cancerian time, because it's the past, isn't it? And family and whatever, those should be really resolved ideologically, or in a discussion. It really doesn't have to make us savages, because if it does, then we cannot quantum leap. Even Uranus cannot quantum leap us anywhere. Then Uranus is not even needed. Let's send Uranus back to 1770 or something like that. Then the outer planets are not needed at all if we are in those stages. So yeah. But then let's get here. Oh. When Neptune is going direct. So this is kind of how Neptune goes direct. It still kind of holds on and off the square with Mars. It still neighbors Jupiter. And right now it does square both Mercury and Venus. And the square with Venus is getting exact. It will be exact. And Venus is the lower octave of Neptune. So this means disillusion. This means that even love has to get into healthy expression, healthy measures. But at the same time, how should I say? The opposite is also true. Like, love cannot be kept unconditional. Love cannot be kept a fantasy. Love cannot be kept totally pure. Because what the spirit goes away. So Venus has her role as well, coming with the wisdom that happiness and love causing joy. The Sagittarian Venus, the sense of excitedness, the catharsis of it, that is needed. If we strip ourselves from it, then we are just provoking the spirit in ways in which we shouldn't. Because if we are hell-bent to want to live the life of a saint, well, it's not gonna be easy. We will be gifted with this, but we will not be grateful after all, especially at the end. So let's just handle the spirit as we can. A bit of fantasy, a bit of surreal, a bit of naivety, personal naivety, because that's how I want to see things. That's part of the picture, and it's good. It's not good if you want to go into extremes, but chances are let's not go into the extremes. Because that Pisces and Gemini, if there is a lesson in the energy of these signs, is that extreme will always be bad. Sometimes in life we will pendulate between the two, yes. But that's not the core issue. The core issue, if we make that our normality, if we pendulate, but as we pendulate back and forth, we will get to be very familiar with what not the middle necessarily, but balance, comfort, a comfortable meeting of two sides means, and then we stop at the most comfortable expression of the duality, of the union of the duality, and we can embody that comfortably with confidence that it won't defeat us, that it won't go against us, and that the balance serves the greater good. Now, of course, what I said is more philosophical, and you do need to translate that into your practical situation, what that means, because this means different for different people, because what I said here is, well, the dream has to be still a dream, but don't keep it a dream, because sometimes, in order to keep the dream alive, we cast off any possibility for it to accomplish itself. Because, well, I'm not ready, well, it's not perfect, my dream is actually a bit different, we can delay dreams a lifetime with this. That I'm not ready, it is not ready, it's not perfect, well, but we forget that after we get the imperfection, we can work with it. We can shape it, sandpaper, sizzle, whatever. So we forget the alchemy. We forget that we're alchemists. The divine very, very, very rarely hands us down something ready-made. In the best case scenario, when some meals are, half cooked or fried and then frozen, and then we just fried the remaining bit. That's how we usually get it, half done. Because that's the greatest gift. Because it's a gift, but it still gives us the joy to complete the rest. Very, very, very rarely does it just come down on a silver tray. It does, but as I said, so let's not try to avoid our part, the 50%. It comes as a chunk of something and we have to shape it. We have to form it to suit our needs, suit who we are. And these mutable energies ask us to go with the flow, not to allow fixations and our rigidity to stop us and basically get in our way. So this is what I would like to say for this week. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all the love, all the support.